Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Rock Bottom Airsoft. It's good to see you again. If this is your first time here, then as always, it is good to see you and I hope you're going to stick around. Okay, well, welcome to our midweek video. I thought we'd do a command center video today. Those of you who follow the channel will know that we normally have 3 locations, studio videos, gameplay, and on rare occasions when I'm showing you a little bit of something, we're up here in what I call my command center. That's where all my stuff is. So anyway, first of all, let me apologise that the videos have been a little bit all over the place recently. Those of you who know me, those of you who follow the channel will know that I had a few medical problems over the last 18 months. And unfortunately they've reared their head again, but hopefully I get sorted out shortly. So I've been a little bit behind on our videos. We did have a gameplay video last Wednesday, so I thought we'd do a command center video today on something that I've noticed, and then hopefully we'll get back to our normal studio video on Saturday. So thanks very much for all your patience, guys. Thanks for sticking with the channel, I really appreciate it. So without further ado, with that out of the way, let's get into what we're looking at today. Now, if you did watch that gameplay video last week, you'll know that I was using this, which is a very affordable Lancer. We've looked at it on the channel before. I'm in the process of doing this up and improving it somewhat. We've added a new metal buffer tube and a new stock. These are Cyma items. I quite like them. I think they look pretty cool. But that's just me. They're better for battery space, and I do not like plastic buffer tubes either, which this replica came with as standard. Now, I did reshim, did a lot of work on this replica. And one of the primary things I used it for was for trying out the eshooter Kestrel V2 electronic trigger unit that works on an optical trigger. Now, I was quite impressed with the trigger unit. However, ever since I fitted it, I did a bit more shimming and it's always sounded whiny. And I can't get rid of the whine, and it doesn't matter how many times I shim it, the whine is still there. So I have come to the conclusion that it's to do with the stock mortar, and that's what brings me on to our short video today, what we're having a quick look at. Something to be aware of when you're changing mortars. I'll be honest with you guys, it's not something that's happened to me before. I've heard of other people having this problem, but it's not something that's really affected myself in my endeavours. So this is a decent replica now. It shoots well, it's got good range, but like I said, I was trying to get rid of this whine, and it is shimmed correctly, but it still sounds tight and a little bit whiny. So that's why I was going to change the mortar. Now, the reason I'm having a chat with you is I bought this mortar. This is a Rocket high torque mortar. Now, as far as I know, Rocket, I've had quite a few products from Rocket and they've always been fairly decent. I think they're manufactured in the same process as SHS. They may even be the same company. However, I have found that their parts have been comparable for me and they are very affordable. So rather than going full on Warhead, which you know I've done in a few other replicas, I thought I'd go with, to me, the best option. It's more affordable and the results are good, depending on what else you do into the replica. But for me, I had to go with a high torque for a number of reasons. One, the Kestrel eshooter, it doesn't work well with brushless mortars as far as I can gather. So obviously we wanted to go with a brushed mortar. And also I like high torque mortars. I think they give me a lot of options when I'm tuning up a replica. I'll normally go with high torque. So this is a high torque mortar. It's got neodymium magnets. It's a decent mortar. By all accounts, a really, really good mortar. And I got that to replace this, which is the stock Lancer mortar, and I suspect that is what's causing me to have a lot of whining issues now, because it's just slow. I think it's on its last legs because that replica was an old replica when I got it. It was broken when I got it, so I got it up and running again. So I think it's a case that this mortar is a little bit gone, shall we say. Now, this is what I wanted to talk to you about. I haven't encountered it before, but there is an issue with these mortars, and I could not get this mortar to work. every time I installed this new rocket mortar, I had lots of problems. Just let me get this out for you. I had lots of problems with the gearbox locking up. Didn't matter how much I adjusted the mortar height, it would either lock up or it wouldn't engage. And I thought, that is very strange. You know, they look, as you can probably tell on camera, I hope you can make out on camera, they look pretty much identical. The same size. It's advertised as a long shaft high torque mortar, and long shaft is what you need for a version 2 gearbox normally. However, with this Lancer, what I have found is, if you can make it out, this mortar is ever so much shorter than this mortar. So with the stock pistol grip that's on the Lancer, this mortar cannot be wound out enough to get satisfactory adjustment, and it locks up the gearbox. Whereas this mortar works fine, but really whiny. Now, I shouldn't really hold them together because they're magnetic, but if you'll see them lined up, I don't know if you can make that out. We're talking millimeters of difference. It's just ever so slightly different, which is weird. I have never encountered that before. The cans and everything look the same, but the pinion on this mortar is ever so much further out, and the body where the connection points are is ever so much shorter. And you really can't tell by looking at them, guys. I put it in and thought that they were exactly the same. If I get the trusty tape measure out here, now I'm old school, so I work in inches, so that is roughly 3.5 inches. But if we're going in millimeters, then we are looking at 90 mils there, so 9 centimeters. Now we look at the other one, which is much stronger magnets. It's pulling the tape measure to it. This one, again, from end to end, will come out at just under 90. So it's about 87 mil. So we're talking 2 to 3 millimeters difference between the two mortars, and that was enough to mean that this mortar locks up the gearbox. However, I'm still going to use this mortar in this replica, but it's something to be aware of if you guys are thinking of upgrading your mortar, that this stock Lancer, this is the first replica I've come across, this stock Lancer pistol grip will not accommodate this mortar very effectively. It's just too tight, whereas the stock mortar fits absolutely fine. So, something to be aware of, guys. An update on what's happening with this Kestrel eshooter base build is that mortar is not going to fit without me changing this pistol grip. So I'm going to change the pistol grip, and then we can fit this high torque mortar and try it out. But I thought I'd make you aware in this video, guys, that you can get ever so slight differences. I've mentioned it before for upgrade parts in Airsoft, that you can get tolerances that are mildly off. Now this, in this case, that's a version 2 gearbox mortar. I would say it's a long shaft high torque mortar, which is what you use, but as you can see, they are ever so slightly different. And I would think, to be fair, it's the Lancer mortar that's maybe slightly different, because obviously they'll have their own manufacturing methods and their own parts. However, I think it's easily resolved with a new pistol grip, and then we'll be able to slot this mortar in. I'll keep you updated, guys, whether that does work, because if it doesn't, then that means that the receiver or even the gearbox angle is slightly off. But let me know in the comments, guys, if you've come across weird things like that before. I mean, I've been working on these replicas for years now, and I'll be honest with you, that is the first time I've had an issue where one of these mortars just doesn't fit. It's just slightly off. And doesn't matter what pistol grip I've used in the past, it's always fit. Every replica that I own, I've usually changed the mortar out on them at some point, especially my AR replicas, and I've never ever encountered a situation where the mortar simply will not work because of fitment, and I'm resorting to changing the pistol grip, or indeed not being able to change the motor. So let me know in the comments, guys, if you've come across something like that. It can be infuriating. I know it's only a short video today, but we'll get back on track. We'll get back to our normal videos. As always, if you've been following my series of videos and enjoying them, which I hope you have, then do please get subscribed to the channel, and then you won't miss any of my future uploads, or if we have any debacles where the uploads are kind of all over the place. If you want any more from myself, you can find Rock Bottom Airsoft on Facebook and Instagram, but it's been very quiet on there recently due to the same issues, so hopefully we'll start to pick up again now. But again, guys, thanks very much for your patience. Thanks for supporting the channel. I've got more stuff coming on the channel soon. We are going to get to installing the Airsoft Pro hop unit into the Barrett, the Lancer LT20 Barrett. We will have a go at that shortly, so stick with me on that one. I am going to get around to doing that one. And we've got some other stuff coming up on the channel, such as painting. I thought this weekend, if we get a chance, if the weather's up for it, we'll have a look at spraying your Airsoft replicas and the best way to spray. I'm not the best sprayer in the world, but you know, I can do it without breaking the gun, which is always good. But apart from that, guys, thanks very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.